Lee Carlson. My title now is Grandpa Lee, I guess. We've got 150 years of history in this area in western Wisconsin. It started about 2.5 miles from here. My mother's ancestors came up the St. Croix River and they farmed. Eventually in 1934 they moved up here. They had 2,000 laying hens around here, which was a big deal back then. They milked 49 cows. My grandpa, his goal was to have raise 1,000 hogs back then, and he did that, but he didn't get to see it. He passed away before that all had happened. When I kind of took over here in the early 60s, and I kind of pioneered feeding Holstein steers in the area. Nobody had really done that. Larry, who was the oldest, he was involved with the farm in the 80s. Then Scott got out of high school. He worked part-time off the farm when he was, 18, 19, and 20. We had gotten out of the cattle business in '94, and then there was quite a few dairy farms around that were being rented. So we started renting some land and got into just the cash cropping, and that's the result of what this is here now.
Scott Carlson, Carlson Farm Partnership. I'm a partner in the operation.
And Sarah Carlson, also partner.
So Sarah and I started farming with my parents, Lee and Judy, and over time we had been buying some of our own equipment, building some of the bins and buildings, and my dad, Lee, had come to us and felt the need to get the transition started, so we decided to work on creating a partnership. So as the years go by, there's been times we've wanted to upgrade equipment. We've added some bins over time, and they've always been our first go-to phone call for any additional funds that we need. We've got a credit line with them, and that transition has always been very simple.
It's always very easy to just contact Glenn and say this is our purchase that we need to make, and give us our options for loans and what are the rates, what are the time periods, and they're very, very easy and efficient to work with.
Glenn has probably been working with us 20 years.
I'd say at least.
With that experience, and he knows our operation and has grown with us, it's nice to make the phone call and bounce something off of Glenn. Okay, I have an idea.
And sometimes when we call Glenn or email him about a loan, he'll bring that into the conversation that, well, here's your loan and here's your interest rate. However, you will also be getting this much patronage back eventually, and so that does play into the decision a little bit. It adds to the benefits of going through Compeer in that instance.
I'm Glenn Walkler. I've been with Compeer for 25 years. I'm a financial officer. So I started doing loans with Lee and Judy shortly after I started at Compeer. And Lee and Judy were a special couple. They were doing a lot of things and introduced me to their son Scott and his wife Sarah, who were going to be the next generation farming with them. I think the most important thing for Scott and Sarah is to really be timely. When there's a piece of land for sale, you don't have a lot of time to really weigh those decisions, and sometimes you just need access to somebody that's dependable. And I think that's where Scott picks up the phone, and I think it's a relationship piece and knowing that that loan is going to get done when he calls. So Scott and Sarah especially, and Lee as well, they're cutting edge when it comes to using technology and thinking about the world just a little differently, and how we can be prepared for not just the next generation but generations to come. And they've had some really cool projects here on the farm. They've done a wind project to generate their own electricity and be a little more supportive on their own. Again, after that came the irrigation, really giving that crop everything that it needed. And now lately, the next project has been solar, and the solar is for the farm use, and really thinking about more what's to come in the future.
They are big into sustainable practices, and I think that's one of the things they take to heart most during farming. Is they don't just do it to succeed, they do it to make the world better at the same time.
My dad has always been high on conservation. It's been a priority of his since I was a kid. I've been doing this 35, almost 40 years now. So that's always been a part of our operation. We have transitioned from conservation tillage to vertical tillage and as much no-till as possible. Now we're doing even more and more no-till. We're a diversified crop operation. We grow corn, non-GMO soybeans. We raise a lot of rye for grain. We harvest the straw. And now we've transitioned into green beans as well. Through the green bean side of things and the rye, we can utilize cover crops. So yes, to say conservation is just an idea for us is false. It's a huge part of what we do here.